After enjoying the rapids of the Mackenzie River, I'm heading to the town of Monmouth, Oregon, to meet Jennifer Cook, who's having a problem with her backyard deck. The wood is showing signs of dry rot, and I suspect it's time to replace the entire surface. While Jennifer's husband David is at work, she and I are going to tackle the job. Oh, very nice deck. A good, nice sun here, well located. All right. Looks like it has been down a while. Any idea how old it is?
It's about 15 years old.
Okay. Well, that's not a bad life for a deck up here in this climate where it's kind of moist.
We get a lot of rain.
You get a lot of rain. You know, I think that there's no question we're going to have to pull these boards up and replace them. But I'd like to do a couple of things differently this time. See this line right down through here? I'd like to stagger these joints. Make the deck look more like one deck instead of two halves put together. Secondly, you see over here where the boards are rotted on the end? To prevent that from happening, I'd like to treat the ends of the boards that we cut with a preservative. That'll keep them from rotting out that way. And then also, I'm thinking that maybe we just eliminate all these nail heads entirely here by using an invisible fastening system here.
That would look a lot nicer.
It would avoid things like this too, where these nails are popping up. So why don't we begin by taking these boards up?
Okay, let's get started.
Jennifer and I start out using pry bars to remove the fascia or edge boards that run around the deck. Okay, we should be able to grab this now. Okay, hold it. Freeze. There we go. Now, Jennifer, I want to pull some of these nails out of this first plank here. We then tackle the rest of the planks. And to do that, I'm going to use this tool. This is a nail puller. You haven't?
No.
It's actually a Japanese hand tool. It's really great. Here's the way you use it. Put the tips of this tool right here, those two sharp points, right at the edge of the nail head, like that. Okay, then take your hammer. There's a striking surface right here. And the idea is to drive this up underneath the head of the nail. All right? Now, we're going to pull this back like this. All the way. There you go. One thing that'll help when you get to this point, it'll block the wood under here. All right, great. Okay, now pry it up. It's not necessary to pull out all the nails. Jennifer and I can use pry bars to lift the board the rest of the way. Down here. Can you lift? Stand by. Lift. Okay, all the way up now.
Can you give me a hand with this rod?
Sure. Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
2, 3.
Okay, there we go. Very nice. It's getting kind of late. Once we've removed all the old deck boards, we inspect the remaining joists for dry rot. There wasn't any dry rot. One easy way to do that is to take a screwdriver, like the one you've got there, and just kind of poke the top of these. Any place that looks a little suspect. These seem to be all in great shape, so that's good news. Yeah, we don't have to replace any of those. When laying out a deck, it's best to avoid having the joints in straight lines. A staggered pattern is more pleasing to the eye. To get this pattern, we'll first lay down a full board. Let's call it board number 1. From board number 2, we'll cut a section long enough to finish the first row. Then we'll start the next row with the remainder of board number 2. We'll finish out this row with a portion of board number 3, start the next row with the remainder of that board, and so on. The plank ends must meet at the center of a joist so that they can be supported and attached. Slide this all the way out. That's the sliding bar. After a quick lesson on using a power miter saw, Jennifer goes to work. I asked Jennifer to wear a mask as she cuts, because this wood is pressure treated to resist rot, and it's possible for the sawdust to cause an allergic reaction. Now that, very nice clean cut for your first time.
That's awesome.
Jennifer and I set the first board in place.
Right, does it need to come down this way some?
Okay. We nail the board down to the joists. Now this first board and the last board are the only ones we're going to nail from the top. The rest will be secured with an invisible fastening system. Now this is the system that we're going to use to attach these deck boards. These are called deck board ties. They get nailed to the edge of each board, and these tabs right here slip up underneath the adjacent board, just like this. And then the other edge of this board gets toe-nailed. We continue that process as we work our way across the deck. Now there are 3 advantages to these. First of all, you don't have any visible nail heads or screw heads, no rust marks, and no dents from missed hammer blows. Okay, Jennifer. Yeah, mark that last one if you would. We have a lot of boards to attach, but the technique is the same for each. Jennifer marks where the deck board ties need to be placed. That's it. She then nails the tie to the board and slides the board into position.
Slide it under.
Along the opposite edge of the plank, nails are driven into the joist at an angle, a method called toe nailing. While we're attaching the boards, Jennifer applies wood preservative to the freshly cut ends. This will help prevent the dry rot we saw in the old deck. We've made some good progress and have about half the boards in place when we decide to break for the day.
You know, we couldn't have timed our second visit better. We're going to finish the deck on a really special day for Jennifer and her husband, David.
Hey. Morning, Ron.
How you doing?
Good. Are we ready to get started again today?
I'm ready.
All right,
Got
let's
your
go.
hammer?
I do. Let's go.
Jennifer and I pick up where we left off, continuing to install the new deck boards using the invisible fasteners, until finally,
last board,
and we're ready for the next step. Now it's time to cut the ends of the deck boards to an even length.
Here.
We snap a chalk line.
Very nice.
That's an awesome line.
Which Jennifer will then use as a guide.
Brilliant, huh?
As she cuts the boards with a circular saw. We're down to our last important step. We need to apply a sealer to the wood to protect the deck from the elements and extend its life.
Forth like this. Really want to saturate the wood pretty good. Just like this, back and forth, back and forth. You can see I'm holding this maybe, I don't know, a foot or so.
A garden sprayer is a quick way to get the sealer on the surface. This sealer is milky when it goes on, but will dry clear. After a few minutes, Jennifer, using a long-handled brush, works the sealer into the wood surface. Now all we have to do is let things dry.
Well, I think the deck turned out just great, and as I said before, this is a very special day for Jennifer and her husband David, who just got home. This is their 4th wedding anniversary, so I'm going to surprise them with the deck and the cake. Hey guys, come on out. David, here's your new deck. Well, what do you think, huh?
Wow.
Looks great.
Happy deck and happy anniversary.
Oh.
Can I pour you some champagne?
You didn't have to do that, Ron.
Well, it's my pleasure. Congratulations, guys. 4 great years, many more to come for you. And I hope you can spend a lot of them right out here, relaxing on this deck, soaking up the sun.
Well, we will in the summertime.
You will? Okay, and I'll be thinking of you.
Okay.
All right. Can I cut you some cake?
That'd be great.
All right, you betcha.
Cheers.
Jennifer definitely earned a glass of champagne after all her hard work. As for me, it was a piece of cake.